Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. We are back with another blonding tutorial. We are going to be breaking up a little bit of a longer grow out line of demarcation um, and also showing how we can get a nice blend that will last your client a long time, even if they don't want a root tap. I just did a video on a no root tapped blonde. I feel like all of my clients are just like boycotting them these days. So we're going to be having lots of tutorials on them here soon. So, which I think is a great tool to have, because I definitely feel like, even myself included, I feel like this has just really forced me to like really fine tune my foiling game and not just like rely on a root tap to like, make everything look pretty, if that makes sense. So this is one of my clients. She plays soccer for a big school, and so I only see her in the summer, and then I typically don't see her again until around the holidays because of soccer. And then I'm normally able to see her a little bit more in like the winter and spring, and she's normally like a platinum appearing blonde. Like, she's one of my clients that I basically foil like 95% of her head. And while we love that, it's just not realistic on long grow outs, especially when I know I'm not going to be able to see her again, like I said, for a hot minute. Plus two, just health wise, it's really stressful on her hair. She actually doesn't put a lot of heat on her hair, which is helpful, but with being an athlete, she has to wear her hair up like all the time. So we were having quite a bit of ponytail breakage going on, and I was actually telling her at this appointment, I was like, I'm not really going to sit here and tell you, change your ponytails, because at the end of the day, she literally has to have her hair in a tight ponytail so she can do the sport that she committed to do in school. So, when she's out of school, we'll kind of handle that. Her hair's gotten a lot better, but yeah, that's just me rambling basically. Let's get on to the tutorial. But we're actually just going to be doing our partial on her today. We're just trying to get a little bit of dimension built in. And we really were fine with how everything else was starting to grow out anyway. And we just really wanted to focus our placement on the top for the most part. And I still did do a bottom hairline, which I'll get to later on. But my partials are just focusing on the top crown part of the head, basically. So what I am doing is a mix of Babylights and Teasylights. So the end picture was a dimensional baby lit blonde with a bold money piece. She did say she still wanted a really bold money piece so that she at least still felt very blonde up front. She just kind of decided that that's her main priority and goal. And obviously, as long as everything else looks fluid and, matches, like, that's great. But as long as her priority in terms of like bold blonde was just mainly the money piece part, which is also why I wanted to make sure that I did a intense hairline foil in with that as well. Now, if she did not have, I think we said it was either 4 or 5 months since I've seen her. If she didn't have that long of grow out, I wouldn't have had to do Teasylights in between. I would have been able to just do a dimensional baby light placement. But because it had been so long, while I did want to just do baby lights, I knew that just baby lighting wouldn't probably, while we wanted dimension, I know my client, and already not doing as much blonding as normal already is like a big change for her. So I kind of like opted for a placement in the middle where I did my standard dimensional baby light placement, where I still like place my foils a little bit more further apart than I would like a traditional like heavy impact full foil, which is the same. You guys are seeing that placement kind of right now. And if you want to see that without a Teasylight in between, then go look at my last blonding video. But I did decide to add a Teasylight in between to help build some more coverage. But the teasing that root out then helps it to not be all heavy coverage up at the root. And after you guys see the final placement, I'm like actually so glad I did that. It was kind of something that I ended up doing last minute on the fly, actually, just because when I was just really getting into her hair, she just has thick hair. So when I was getting in there, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to like give her that soft dimensional placement without adding a teasy light in between. Otherwise, it was just going to make it look like not enough blonde. And she like, we gave her some low lights at one appointment a couple months ago, and she like dang near crashed out. So, you know, my blondie girls, we get it. So basically what I did was I would go back and forth in this back part of the mohawk. I would go back and forth and alternate between a baby light and a teasy light. My teasy lights I would take down maybe like an inch or so of where I would tease. And then what was cool about this was with teasy lights, you're able to take a little bit of bigger sections because you're not foiling all the way up to the root. So I was able to get a little bit more coverage in there as well, which was really helpful. And I would just basically, like I said, alternate back and forth between the two of those. And then right over top of that would be the baby light, which would be helpful because that was what placement she truly wanted to see was, again, like I said, like that more dimensional blonde in the back. So think of it like this. We did baby lights for placement and we did teasy lights for blonde coverage. And what is helpful with that is that it just helps to give a really soft gradient where it's super soft and dimensional in the root area. Those teasy lights are kind of like a transitional point from dimension to full coverage because she's full coverage blonde on the ends too because of all of the blonding that we've done on her. So the teasy lights kind of help to like give a soft, seamless transition from the dimension to the full coverage blonde on the ends. And it makes it like just, again, like I keep saying, just a very seamless, very melty kind of look. So here we are in the front doing her money piece. So typically for these, my standard bold money pieces, I always start with a weave in that first section of the hairline just because the hair is so fine there and everyone's everyone's hairlines in their baby hair area is kind of scattered. Like there's no one that has like a truly straight manufactured straight line. So I like to weave. I feel like it makes it look a little bit more natural. And then I go in with slices then from there. And I basically will do back-to-back slices until I feel like it is a point of starting to do some transitional pieces. And I do it as heavy coverage as A, the client wants. B, I also to go off of their growth pattern, how their hairline lays, how they wear their hair. So this client of mine wears her hair in the middle part straight more times than not, or she's slicking it back. And like I said, she said that she wanted a bold money piece too. And I even took it back a little bit further as well because I felt like that would, again, just help give her, like, have her cake and eat it too with, like, the heavy impact blonde, but with the dimensionalness in the back too. So then what I like to do when I am ready to start transitioning into taking the money piece foils into just my standard foils and meeting the front with what I was doing in the back is I just take same thing. I start off with slices, which is like the most minimal of like leave out basically. And then I will alternate. I'll add a little bit more and more and more leave out per foil until I feel like I am back to like the standard placement that I was doing in the back. And just kind of go from there. And then if I was doing weaves at some point, then I will also too eventually start to implement some weaves. I was going back and forth between weaves and teasing in the back, or I was going back and forth between weaves and slices in the back. My baby lights were a slice weave combo where it wasn't like a full straight across slice, but it also wasn't like a super skipped out like weave though either. It's kind of like a mix of like basically like a real jagged line. I was doing a mix of that, and I was also doing a mix of regular like weaves as well. Just because again, like especially on my thick hair girls, if I feel like when I do just weaves, the hair gets lost, like the blonde gets lost way too quickly. But also too, as we know, slices can be kind of harsh. So I also didn't want to make it a too harsh of a placement too. So even with that, with the baby lights that I was doing, they were mixes between what I'm going to call like broken slices and traditional weaves too. So I'm going to make sure that I'm implementing that in my money piece placement as well and go from regular slices to more broken slices to traditional weaves and do that until I'm basically back to like square one of what I was starting off with. So What you're going to start to see me do as well, especially as I'm starting to work my way towards the back, is make sure that I am taking my foils up over the ear. And some might not count this as part of the hairline. I do, because if I didn't get the foils over above her ear, the second she pulled her hair forward, she would see a dark pocket. And if she wouldn't see it right away because she does have thick hair, like that's something that definitely would have gotten noticed, sometime within the next few months. So definitely not ideal. And because I knew I needed to do still like some transitional pieces, and I was still doing like a lot of legwork, and I wanted this to still last for a long time, I low-key ended up adding like a few foils up in this like interior area and the underneath, because it honestly just made me feel better. So call it a half head if you want. I still called it a partial head. It made, like I said, it made me sleep better. So, and then make sure still, so you still have like those side foils, but another important part with this is to make sure you're connecting those sides with, there's most likely going to be a little bit of hair connecting the sides with that topmost area, and make sure you don't forget that, because if you do, that will definitely leave a dark peak. So again, same thing, replicate the same foiling pattern where I start off with a weave, and then I'll do some slices and wait until I feel like I am at a good point where I can kind of start to transition out of that. All right, now we are working into the back. So this is, like I said, the back hairline area. So I always say make sure that you're still treating the underneath area just as much of a money piece as you are the top and the sides, because especially in clients like this, if you're like skipping out on, now I don't always do underneath hairline foils on my partials. That's what my half heads are for. But in cases like this where I didn't necessarily feel like we needed to do a full blown half head, where like I did all the sides, like I said, she's got a lot of hair. So if I was doing a half head placement on her, it would have probably still taken me, like I said, it took me a little under an hour to foil this. It probably would have taken me like an hour and a half, hour and 45 to foil all of this. When I'm doing like fulls on her, it's like taking me like 2.5 hours to foil her. So, like I said, I know some of you might be thinking like, oh, you still did a half head because you did some foils on the inside. Trust me, I saved so much time. We said multiple times, like, this was the quickest appointment that you've ever had, because it was like I think it was like 2.5 hours or something like that. But anyway, so yeah, like I said, I don't always do this on my partials, but in cases like this, I did. I have no problem doing it. It's just, like I said, typically if that's a priority, then we're doing a half head anyway. So I mainly like to weave in the underneath part of the hairline. I just feel like the nape area is so fine. And I've had it so many times before where I've done even like a couple slices, and it just must be with how I slice or something like that. But if I'm doing something where I need it to look like organic and soft and lived in, like the slices underneath are just way too harsh. I just feel like, because like even though underneath we do still want like a bold blonde, it's just, I never look for like I never look for as bold as a blonde underneath that I do up top. Like I want it to be impactful, but it to like look scattered. I don't know. I don't need it to be as in your face. So I'm typically opting for mainly weaves in the back. And if I just need to place them more back to back to build the coverage, then I'm normally doing that. And same thing with how I was doing at the sides, making sure I was getting the ear area. Make sure underneath that you're getting it either as close to the ear, because if you've already done so much ear foiling at the sides, you might have ran out, but make sure that you're just connecting those foils and that there's no gaps in between or anything like that. Because again, like I said, that is just a very crucial part, is when you pull your hair forward, is what does that color look like? And my blondes want to, in fact, see blonde there. So, yeah, other than that though, I normally go in the back and underneath area. I normally go until I feel like I am reaching a little bit of like that side bone in the head. I'm sorry, it's been forever since I've been in beauty school. I do not remember what the side bone is called. But that bone area like right above the ear. And I did not do a root tap, and we also too did not tone her either, because we like her to be as bright as possible, and she just maintenances it with purple shampoo every now and again. And this was our end result. And like I said, this is just so stunning. I love this on her. This is like the perfect mix of in between. And I feel like this is just going to grow out amazing for her so that I can wait and see her, you know, come Thanksgiving time. And it's just going to be much, much better. So I hope you guys enjoyed this soft but impactful foil placement that should hopefully last your clients a long time too. Bye.